No care.
Hello, everyone. Okay. I never saw this. One of two pages. What? Mute. Just hit the microphone. Okay. We will start in just a few minutes. I think everybody's getting on. Okay. Oh. I'm the talker. And I'm going to put the chat over here.
Down. My son has a Toyota Corolla that if you go over the lines, it'll correct it.
Does it zap you?
No, it just corrects it. It auto
Oh, not
corrects
mine.
you.
My Tahoe. First time I was in it and I did that, it zapped me like electrical zap on the butt.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, hell no. What? There's a loose wire in here or something. You know, my thought was, it's
Did
a
you need
short.
a copy of your blood work orders?
Yes. And I thought for sure I was getting zapped by a short in the seat. No, it's just a safety thing. Don't get too close to the little wires, those lines, or you'll get zapped.
All right, can't
And my car right now has 18 airbags. Can you believe that? 18 airbags. Where's the one with the
There we go. Got it. Okay. Well, we will go ahead and get started. I think I've got everybody muted now. So we have some questions that did come in, and I will address a lot of those as we talk. But feel free to put it in the chat box. And these ladies to the side of me will be watching to make sure we address those things as well. But today's meeting is just to address some recent development that has happened for us. So we've had a very busy summer and a very successful summer, getting to know a lot of the children who were able to come back and who moved from building to building, getting everybody transitioned in well. And a lot of super things happen for the summer. We also feel strongly those super things that we learned are going to transition into the school year. But that is not why I'm here today. One of the things we learned over the summer is at the beginning of the summer, many of the families were utilizing Terry's a little bit more in the 8:30 to 5:30, 8 to 5 range, where their days were shorter and the children's days were shorter. And as the summer progressed, the days got longer for a lot of the children. And I was overstaffed, as many of you may, I was overstaffed in each of the buildings already, because we have to cover these new requirements of social distancing and not combining groups, and making sure there's different zones and staggering the lunches and using different spaces. So we had to overstaff, which, as you can imagine, we are already terribly low in our ratio. The requirement for the 209 for pre-Ks is 1 to 14. For kindergartners is 1 to 18. We run a 1 to 6 ratio. So each of the buildings are, definitely less than half of the state ratio. And we've always had great pride in that. But with this disinfecting and the staggering and the spreading out social distancing piece, we've had to add staff to make that happen. And we've been obligated to do that, committed to make all of that happen. But what we found, which we didn't totally anticipate was that the children's days are getting longer. People are getting back to work. There are 15 or more children there by 7:30, and there are often 15 or more children there after 5:30, sometimes 20. At quarter to 6, there's often anywhere from 10 to 13, 10 to 15 children still left at 209. So in order to make that work, this was a concern, and a reason I was going to call this meeting is those 15 children, if they're from all 5 different groups, I have to have 5 adults present to keep those children separated. And as you can imagine, not all of these teachers are able to work 11-hour days. But in order to provide the type of care that is required with this new division, you have to have everybody working longer shifts and longer days, or you have to throw a lot more staff at it. So that was a concern going into the school year with adding back into the program. And so I was seriously considering setting up this meeting. It's just that. But unfortunately, I had a new added challenge that I was not prepared for. So the school districts are all putting out their plan. Wyoming, Indian Hills, Sycamore, they're all putting out their plan. And a lot of them are coming back at the hybrid method. So while we were so busy trying to stay open and take care of employees being employed and pandemic workers, in the March timeframe, and then summer's getting back open so people could go back to work. The piece that wasn't being addressed is all the teachers that have children at home alone that did not have a place for their child to go since March, but yet they were coming to work every day. So we're going into the school year with now those children still not having a place to go on a full-time basis. So unfortunately, between last Friday and today, I've lost 5 teachers. So that affects a lot of us because it's in each building that teachers are dropping. I know public school is having the same issue. A lot of the schools are having that same issue. People have retired early. People are very highly concerned about children coming back to their programs. And so you've got that added dimension. Now, the good news is we've got a great office staff who will step in. But we do have some of our people who have worked this summer who have offered to stay until their school district starts. So some of us are going to carry us over while we're interviewing. But to lose 1 or 2 people in each building changes even more so what I'm able to do from that 4 to 6 time or that 7 to 9 time. So the way I was working it out is in the morning, I was trying to bring in teachers as fast as I could. And in order to get all the breakfast stations open and the rooms open, you have to have a 7, a 7:15, a 7:30, a 7:45, and 8 o'clock. So that's 5 teachers before 8 o'clock, which most teams have 7 teachers on them. That means I only have 2 teachers after 5 o'clock, with losing 1 each 15 minutes before that. So from 5 to 6, I don't have 5 teachers and high schoolers enough to open all of those stations. This is the leading reason why we're having this this conversation right now about reducing the hours. If I can get them in faster, that 5:30 time frame allows me to bring in the 9 to 6, the 8:45 to 5:45, and the 8:30 to 5:30 now at 8, at 8:15, and 8:30. So I have the ability to have a lot more adults all the way up until closing time in each of the buildings to keep the children staggered. So we have some great interviews coming, and we've had a few good ones already, and I'm hopeful that during the 2 to 3 weeks that we have some of our summer staff holding us over, we're going to resolve some of those issues. But to think that I can overstaff this year is a little bit harder to think of doing. One of the questions that came up from questions that came out early was Governor DeWine announced that you were able to now change back to the student ratio and the class size that you initially had. Well, if you remember, our class size and ratio were already so much smaller than the regular programs. What he didn't say is that you can mix those classes and that you don't need to worry about social distancing. He didn't say that, but he said is you could go back. So if you're looking at a preschool program that has 24 children and 2 teachers, they can go back to their 12-to-1 ratio if they can socially distance those 24 children in one classroom. So that totally doesn't apply to us. We still have to separate groups. You can't take, so for us to do anything different, we would have to say that we now have homerooms of our class size of 209 could be 14. I would need to create homerooms of 14. That's not how we've typically operated. We don't like that big class size. We like our small class size. So we don't reap all the benefits of this this new mandate he put out there. They're still very much wanting you to keep groups separate for tracing. We're going into the school year where everybody's sort of panicking about how are children going to do when they go back to school and they're mixing with all these new people. There's probably a whole lot of us who are anxious for them to go back to school because we know how important it is for them to be back at school for the many reasons. But there's also a big group that's panicking about that new germ pool. We've been operating this whole time and have been doing great, and we're not worried about that piece with those 5 to 10 children re-entering in the fall. But we are worried about making sure that we can run our program the way we like to run the program, and so we need a little help in order to get the end of the day taken care of and to keep these children separated the way we've been doing it all summer long with our zones, with our different classrooms, with our breakups. So that's a little bit of why, that is why we're calling the meeting today. I do understand that this is going to be hard for parents who are working 10-hour days and they need us to be open 11-hour days to get, give you time to transition your child there and to drive to your work and get there at 6 o'clock. I do realize that is going to be challenging. We have taken that into consideration. But in order to provide the type of care we have all along, we have to somehow get, I got to get staff at the end of the day. And that's been our challenge with that many bodies staying 10-hour days, that many children staying 10-hour days. So other questions that have come up?
Here's some.
Okay. If recruiting goes well, is there a chance the hours could change? Well, we definitely have talked about that. We're not saying no to that, but what we are saying is we don't know what this year holds for us. And the overstaffing coming just with our low ratios, the overstaffing is not doable, and yet we have to do that to maintain the governor's requirements. So to say that if I can get 6 people hired, can I still hire 3 more so that each area has an additional staff member to go till 6 o'clock? That I don't know yet. We're still working on that piece to see if we're going to be able to overstaff this all year is going to be tricky. Is there a way to group kids by the hours they might be there? It could always get my son by 4:30, and if there were others like that, you could pull them together. Would that help? Trying to do this to the caliber that we run a program is important. And, I think one of the things you may have learned about us, and hopefully is why you've chosen us, is we have education going on from 7 o'clock in the morning until your child leaves. And to group them by what time they leave or what time they arrive would change up how we group children in their learning environment. So, you would be putting, I think that would be hard to manipulate. There's just a few children who leave by 4:30. Would that be enough to create a homeroom? Would those personalities, there's a lot that goes into that homeroom piece. Would those personalities, would those educational differences, would you be sitting with somebody, really struggling with learning letters with somebody who's reading chapter books based on what time they leave? There's a lot of pieces that go in there. I wouldn't rule it out completely, but I would hate to use their leaving and their arriving time as their educational guide. Are you able to disclose which staff are leaving and whether you are reassigning staff to different buildings? Great question. Sure, I can disclose that. So we have Karen in infants who takes off the summer, who is not returning. We have Megan in toddlers, and all of these teachers are leaving for reasons of children and COVID. So we have Jaden, one of our college students who had agreed to take on a lot of the hours to give us the extra staff, who has decided to nanny. We have at 209, I had hired a new Montessorian who had not started, who decided she could not go to work. She did not feel comfortable with the COVID situation to go back into teaching yet. We also have Amanda, our quiet room teacher, who also needs to take care of her children right now. So, and she has plans of returning. So we have all of those people that need to be replaced, and then we have a few little short leaves of absences, so that will take place also. So we got lots to work with there, but that's who we know so far. If shortening the hours is the objective, why not 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening? I know the other daycares are doing this. You're exactly right. There are other daycares doing this. And we went back and forth on that. I immediately thought, the 30 minutes is 30 minutes. And what it boiled down to is looking at the big picture and thinking about our families, our teachers' part in this. 6 o'clock is an extremely hard shift to fill. None of our teachers like working the 9 to 6 shift. Every year we lose teachers to the hours. If you think about teachers, because we don't have before care and after care, we have teachers focused on teaching all day long. Your teachers are here when you pick up, which in any daycare situation or any school situation, it's after school care and before school care. So for our teachers, we have a really hard time getting that shift filled, keeping in mind that several days a week, there are children left until 6:15, 6:20. So any 6 o'clock teacher knows that they're not really getting to leave at 6 o'clock. Not only is it a long, long day for a teacher who thought they got a degree and they were going to go work 8:30 to 3:30, And if they were good, they planned on doing work after 3:30 and staying till 4 or doing a little work at home. Our teachers work 9-hour days. They have staff meetings in the middle of the day, and then they go home and do more work on top of taking care of their children. So we did consider that. I think, getting teachers to work 8:30, 5:30, and still knowing they have a lot of work to do it when they go home was a gift during the pandemic. And I think morally people were in a better place because their day was shorter. So that's a little bit of where we are on taking it from the end of the day. And I know, looking into the future, I don't really want to change up our program and bring in daycare workers to close out our program. I don't want to change the caliber of our teachers. At the end of the day, to represent something different, I like having quality teachers from 7 to 6. So in order for me long-term to keep those teachers coming, I lose more and more in the hopes of going to go work an 8:30 to 3:30 shift somewhere else. And I that's a challenge that, we have fought for many, many, many years. And I'm hoping with all that emotionally they're going through right now, they've had all the same concerns and issues that you all have had. What do they do with their children? What do they do with the hybrid education? Should they go to work? Should they expose themselves? They have had all those same issues to struggle with. And I think this may help just a little bit. Okay. Going down, I want to thank, okay. This one, Wyoming schools are following the county-based alert system to determine how much students will be there in person. What are your insights on whether or not there may be closures at Terry's as we go forward, especially if the county goes to purple? Oh, great question. I think we would say that exactly what we said before all of this happened. We will close and go to a pandemic center only when the governor tells us we have to close. So we have operated well, knock on wood, so far, and we plan on staying open until he regulates us to do something different, and we would certainly operate as a pandemic center. And you can all see it's been working. So I know there were a lot of parents that were qualified to be labeled as an essential worker because they are. Maybe if they were to do something like that again, more people would use us for service as a pandemic and use their qualifications to get that service. Okay, so speaking from a dual working family, we need daycare past 5:30 to support our work hours. What options do families have that can't be there by 5:30? I'm not sure. Some things that you may want to think about, do you have a high schooler that can pick up your child and get them home? I think we're all struggling with decisions to try to figure out how to take care of our children right now. And, that's something we're all asking. So many of us are in the same position. So you could, one of the things they talked about is having a buddy system. Maybe one person picks up, maybe taking turns with other parents to bring them to their houses, looking at their pods, their groups of 9, seeing if you could come up with something like that and give yourself another 15 minutes to get there. Is there a late fee you will be utilizing? So does that mean, is there a late fee if you choose to continue to show up at 5:45? Yes, just like there is now, there would be a late fee. If parents choose to show up at 6:20, there is a late fee. And, over the years, we've had parents who regularly choose to show up at 6:15 or 6:20, regardless of us closing at 6 o'clock. And teachers tell each other that. They tell them, oh, I'm so sorry you got the 9 to 6. You're going to be here until 6:30 most nights. It doesn't work on morale. It does not help us keep staff there. But yes, there would be, if we close at 5:30, there would be a late fee for not arriving by 5:30. Okay. I'm looking to see if there were any other questions. Okay, looking at, Okay.
Do you have group assignments assigned?
Do you have group assignments finalized so that we can discuss with the other parent? Yes. We do have homerooms and all of that assigned. So we could definitely let you know that. Actually, you should get that with your open packet, your open house packet. If you're a brand new coming back to Grace on August 10th, then you will get that in your open house packet. If you are been here all summer, you probably already know the children in your group. Okay. Where is it? I got that one. Okay. Other questions? I see they're popping up, but yeah. One of the questions may be, when would this start? This would start August 10th. Do you have, oh, already, it's moving, but I don't see any questions, so hopefully it's. So will kids stay in the same groups as now as in summer? If you, no, but they should have already found that in their parent-child orientation, right? Some of that discussion's already happened.
A little bit, but
Yeah.
they can be sent out there too, it's ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I
We
can
we
send
needed
them.
to email it
Okay,
to everybody.
if, for those of you who have not heard or haven't been here, we will send those out right away. For those of you who have been doing parent-child orientations, we've been telling you what homerooms you are in for the fall. For those children already in the program, we have been calling and talking to those parents as they have picked up, okay, that, you know, that they're having a homeroom switch, or if they're already in the same homeroom. So we can definitely let you know that. So will the tuition rate decrease as a proportional rate? It sounds like 15 to 20 people have been utilizing your service after 5:30, and now we need to find alternate care for those 30 minutes. Carolyn, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, so that question has come up about the tuition, and for the upcoming year, we have decided not to raise rates. So we've taken that into consideration, viewing that part of the equation, and due to the fact that we've had to increase our staff and everything in that nature, it means that no, that there would not be a change in that. It would just be an adjustment of hours. Because Courtney can talk more about the, I think she touched on the fact that the learning is going on from the moment they come to the moment they leave. Where in other programs, maybe there's a before or after school care, which we don't have. We balance that with the idea of the learning goes on all day long, and Courtney can certainly talk more about that. It's not, it doesn't stop at 3 and it doesn't start at 9, so.
Okay, yeah, our program runs all day long, so I think, you know, I think it goes unsaid that we really do start, you know, you're not getting an 8:30 to 3 program. You're getting, for especially those children that are arriving at 7, they're starting the learning right off the bat. The half hour at the end of the day is typically their outside time. You're talking about social graces, you're talking about interaction with friends, but we're not taking away from any classroom component at that time of the day. We had another question. Carol Ann, do you see that question about?
I do. Nicole, I will go ahead and activate your account for you and then send you the temporary password. You need to use the same email address that you provided in your paperwork. And if for some reason that's not matching up, maybe it's on my end that I have it misspelled, it won't let you log in. So I will check that again and then send you your temporary password for you to update.
Sorry, that was a sidebar question on soccer shot. Somebody's trying to sign up, and I don't know if everybody sees the chat questions, so I wanted to reiterate what she's answering. For the kids that don't attend the summer, they go back to the same group of kids. Okay, if you were off for the summer and you were in the same building that you are in last year, the question would be, do you go into the same homeroom? No, everybody typically moves homerooms in June, and then we like to try to keep them in the same homeroom going into the school year. The exceptions would be those little ones that, maybe you didn't need 5 homerooms and there was only 1 or 2 children from a homeroom that was closed for the summer. They may have visited a homeroom different for the summer. But again, we will send out the homerooms for you to look at and see who your new homeroom teacher is. If you've done a parent-child orientation, that has probably already been addressed. Okay, so they change teachers as well as in their homeroom teacher. Yeah, you would have a different homeroom teacher than you did last year. That's always part of our program, always has been. So like at 425, you would have had maybe you had one teacher downstairs one year and you'll have a different teacher upstairs your second year. At 209, you would have one of the pre-K homerooms your first year and then me for your kindergarten year. So changing homerooms has always been. And then at 435, if you are a 18-month-old to 3-year-old and you've had a conference already with one teacher, you may get a different conferencing teacher for this year. We kind of plan that out with each family. We talk about that in the service, and then those teachers call you. Every year they call you and let you know who their person is. So I know we'll have a kindergarten open house on 8/11, but can you provide a list of the Ks? So those of us who have a kindergartner this year have that group. Absolutely. Absolutely, I can send that out. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I don't see any other questions. So what we need to do is send out groupings so you can start talking about who's in their group and homerooms so you can plan a little bit. I appreciate the brainstorming. I appreciate the ideas that have come in and the questions. We will keep you informed as I hire new people. We will send out information about them so you feel like you are seeing this in progress and knowing we're getting some of these little glitches resolved. Oh yes. So during in-service, we will be doing open house videos. So we will have a video of all of your team of teachers so your children can watch it during the break. And we will send you, they will each introduce themselves and tell you where they work and a little bit about themselves. And then there will be another video of the open house tour that you typically get each year where we show you the environment and we show you the works that they're working on. We talk about the skills they're getting and some of the fun things that are happening. The coming in the door, where the zones are for playtime, some of the stuff that you're not getting to see now day-to-day basis, but that will also be sent out in a video. And then your open houses are in the first 2 weeks. 425 and 209 are all in the first week of school, and 435 infants and toddlers are in the second week of school. So will there be any changes to pickup protocols with the time change? I would see a scenario where more parents show up. Yes, I agree. In a smaller window. You're right. We are going to have to be ramped up and ready for that. So we're, I would suggest, that was a great question. In anticipation of that, I would suggest maybe if you're in a rush, more people could call us ahead of time. There's a good slew of parents that say, hey, I will be there in 10 minutes. Then we could get those children in and ready for you. I know at 209 especially, I haven't gotten to witnesses at 425 and 435, but I feel like at 209 especially, we get a nice slew of parents waiting outside. And as the weather changes, you will definitely want to call us ahead so we can bring your child to the entrance room and have them ready. Okay, good question. I think this is the case, but the 5:30 closing is applicable to all buildings, correct? That would be the same at all buildings. Okay. Okay. If you think of anything else or you want to shoot me a message, feel free to do so. I apologize for any inconvenience. I know this is not great news, but my hope is that we can push through this year. We can get staffed, we can get up and running, and we can work more efficiently in getting those children to you at the door. And you know, we already have an extremely low ratio. We got to make it work with the ratio of 1 to 6 and 1 to 5. We can't go any lower than that. So we've really got to make this work. We have, okay. We want to thank everybody again for being here, and stay healthy. If you need us, I will stay on until a bunch of you sign off. If you have another question, feel free to ask it. But thank you everybody for coming.
Courtney, hi, this is Maggie. I might have misheard you. Did you say Amanda? You said an Amanda is leaving
Yes, I did.
from 209?
I
Oh,
will work with you on that. Yep. You're my person to talk to. So
okay.
we won't-
All right. I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you, though. Thanks for today.
No problem.
Hey, Courtney, this is Beth LaGrange. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Since we're kind of late to the game with the with Ray being signed up for kindergarten, I'm just trying to catch up in terms of when, you know, anything that we have to do for that. I know we have the registration form that we need to fill out and bring in, and we'll do that hopefully tomorrow.
Okay.
What I think I heard you said that the kindergarten orientation is on August 11th.
Correct.
Do you know the time?
That's the kindergarten open house.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and you will get the Zoom invite for that on the 6th with the videos that I was referring to. So you'll get all that Thursday of in-service view.
So we won't have to come there for that. It'll
Correct.
just be virtual.
No, you will get 2 tours. You will get 2 videos that he can watch as well as you can watch. And then you will have a Zoom meeting where we will go through all the other special events and things that are going to be added to our program to make up for like some of the field trip loss and some of the neat things that we'll be doing throughout the school year and his individual schedule. It'll be specifically for the one you're talking about. We'll be specifically talking about kindergarten requirements and things that they would need.
Okay. So next week we'll get an email with all that information.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Not to worry. That will be coming your way with those videos.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Courtney, hi, this is Angela and Ray, and we were just wondering, we didn't have any conversations about Preston's homeroom assignment, so did we miss chatting with you about that?
No, I'm sorry that you didn't know that, but Preston signed up for kindergarten, and I'm the kindergarten teacher, so he naturally moved into my homeroom. So he will do that for the fall. My kindergartners right now have been in the quiet room homeroom for the summer because I still had my first graders. But all of my kindergartners for next year, almost all of them, some are still joining us and some have been off for the summer. They've all been in the quiet room together, and Preston is included in that. So he'll move away from the quiet room and join me starting August 10th.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for asking. Okay. Let's see.
Hey, Courtney.
Yeah.
This is Trissa, Mayna's mom.
Yeah.
So do we know who will be replacing Amanda? Because I believe in our last conversation, Maina was going to be in her room.
Yes, we, right now I have Taryn, who has been with us all summer, that will be helping to fill in, but I'm interviewing for, I'm keeping my feelers out. Another Montessorian would be great, or somebody with a specialty or a love for science and geography. Definitely interviewing, and I'll keep my feelers out, but in the meantime, I have Taryn, who has run all of our rooms at different times during the summer, and it is so much fun. Will be stepping in and helping us out there.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, and I've interviewed some great people for that position, so I'm excited, but I got to go through the process.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Are you, Courtney, this is Beth LaGrange again. Are you still taking applications? And not for me, not because I'm going to apply, but for someone I might know.
Come on. Yeah, still taking applications. So if you know somebody, we would love for them to send in an application.
Okay, and would they just get that on the website, or could I give them contact information?
You can give them the office contact information. Call the office, 761-3836. They can call here. They can stop into the office and fill out an application. Send our resume to Terry's with an S at terrysmontessori.com.
Okay.
All of that would be great. We appreciate any help. If you all know great people out there looking for a job and have experience, have a degree in teaching, all of those are bonuses. Montessorians, send them our way.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I think we've gone quiet. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll keep you updated.
Thank you.
Thanks, Courtney.
You're welcome.